In this video, I'm talking all about my fabric organization, so let's jump into it. Hey guys, it's Elizabeth from elizabethmathis.com. If this is your first time here, I give you lots of sewing inspiration, sewing tips and tutorials to help you sew faster, sew better, and sew more creatively. If that sounds like something that's up your alley, go ahead and smash that subscribe bell so you don't miss anything. Today I wanted to talk to you about my fabric organization. Fabric organization is one of those things that I think helps your sewing just kind of like helps you get stuff done. It's kind of a funny thing. You don't necessarily think about like organizing your fabrics in kind of a pretty way, but it's actually super helpful to be able to go into your stash and see things kind of organized in a way where you can see everything and you can just grab whatever it is that you need, and you don't have to sift through a big old bin of fabrics, and you don't have to, you know, kind of grab stuff from the shelf that's like gonna fall over on you. And I say these things because I've totally had both of those situations happening before in my sewing room, and they just didn't work. They didn't work. So this is a system that I've developed kind of over time, and you'll see how it works. And I want you to think about how it is that you can take some of the ideas that I'm going to share here and take them into your sewing room and make them work for you, so that you can just have a pile of fabric that is part of your stash that you can just go and grab stuff and see it and be able to say like, I'm gonna sew from this, not like, you know, some random thing that you remember and then you find it, you know, years later like, oh hey, I bought this, I didn't know that I had this. I'm gonna show you how I organize my fabric, so I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so I'm going to show you my system for rolling all of my fabrics. And the reason why I roll all of my fabrics, besides the fact that I can see them, is that, you know, if you go to a lot of fabric stores, they will have like some kind of open shelving and with tubes like this. And usually in the stores, the tubes are much longer. They're almost like 60 inches long. So these ones are good size for for home use. The only downside is that you have to fold your fabric from selvage to selvage, which is what I've done here. So this is just a cotton quilting print that I bought because I thought it would be fun to make pajamas from it. Cat's pajamas! But anyway, so these are 25 inches long, and I will leave the where I got them from in the description box below. I had to buy them, like, I think in a case of 100. You could buy them in 50, and that's a reasonable size stash. But anyway, they're 25 inches long, and I'll show you in a little bit like how I store them and so forth. But anyway, I fold my fabric selvage to selvage, and then that way it kind of cuts it down in half. Now theoretically, if you have a really sensitive fabric, it will like leave a crease in there, but most fabrics you can wash that out of it and press it, and it's not really going to damage it. So I don't really worry about it too much. So I just bring it to the end and just start folding. I love storing my fabric like this because then I can put them in my open shelving and I can see everything that's in my stash. I think one of the problems with storing fabric is that sometimes it can get so overwhelming, and that you just end up kind of piling stuff into a corner, and then you can't really see what you have available. And then so when it gets to be time to go and create, then you're like so overwhelmed, and you're like, ugh. And then so you buy more fabric, which is not helpful. I mean, if we have stash and we buy fabric that we really love, like, we want to use it, right? Okay, so when I get to the end, then I've got this, and you could leave it like this and that would be just fine, but I prefer to grab a piece of fold over elastic and just put it around the tube and tie it in the middle. Now, if you don't have fold over elastic or you don't have access to it, what you can do instead is just grab any kind of knit fabric, and if you end up with scraps of it, just cut it into strips like that, and that also works really, really well. This is just an ITY knit that I had just little scraps of, and it was too small to do anything with, but it's great for making little ties like that. And that's all you do for rolling the fabric. Okay, so I am inside my fabric closet, and I'm just gonna kind of take you around little portions of it. But you can see I've started to get all my fabric tubes up onto my shelf. And this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is my particular storage thing. So I have this big open shelf, which is really nice, but if you don't have a shelf like this, what you could use is like a cart, like a baking rack that you could get at IKEA or something like that, or like even a cooking supply store. That would be great. I think cooking supply stores have lots of cool things. So that would be a great thing. But this is a custom rack that my husband built for me. It's basically a wine rack that is much longer and deeper. So that my fabric tubes are 25 inches, and this is it's pretty close to that. So, and then it's however many bits high. But this is a custom thing that my husband built. If you don't have something like this, which you probably don't because it's something that my husband built for me, you can get wine racks, and I'm going to show you that because I have that in my other corner in a bit. But the main thing that I want to impress upon you is just that whatever fabric solution that you have, like, keep it open so that you can actually see what you have available to you. So in here, in these baskets, I have my knit scraps. So I have kind of taken them similarly like to what I showed you rolling, except I just rolled them without a tube. I just rolled them up on themselves, and then I tied them with a little piece of knit fabric, and I'm just putting them in there vertically. And then so anytime I need a project that requires a little bit of knit fabric or something like scraps of knits, like my crazy jams that I love to make, I can just go and from my knit scrap bins to go from there. And I have another bag that's under the curtain down here that has scraps of fabric that are available too. In this box, I have just folded bits of leftover woven fabrics, and then on top I've got sweaters, old sweaters that will be repurposed eventually. But so these are all folded and roughly sorted by colors. So I mean, again, it's just I can see everything. Everything's available for me anytime I want to work on a project. Like, I can just go and find stuff. Okay, so now that I've finished rolling all of my fabric, I've got it all organized by color. So I've got my very large stash of aquas over in the corner, and I've got my purples and my yellows. And you can see one of the smaller wine racks in the corner. And that's just a really standard wine rack that you can get, I think like bought mine on eBay. And then I've got all of my pinky peaches that I love. And then I've got my warmer blues and my cooler blues. And then my greens are like way in the corner. I don't know if they could be seen too well right here. So now what I'm going to do is just get everything and just start populating my shelf here. Actually, I'm going to start out with the vertical rack, or I'm going to store my stuff vertically, so you can kind of see how that works. And because my actual shelving unit is a custom unit, I mean, I'm going to show you something that everybody can get. So this, behind all of this, is just a standard wine rack. It's meant to sit vertically, but obviously they're kind of, it's for longer tubes, they're probably going to be kind of wonky in there. But if I stand them up vertically, then that's a space that can be, readily used. So I'm just going to start kind of filing my fabric. And this kind of wine rack is really better for smaller pieces of fabric. So this probably isn't the best for something that's got that much density. This is a wool melt-in. So I'm just going to set that off to the side because it's not going to fit in that space very well. But for my smaller pieces, it will do really just fine. I mean, again, the name of the game is just having stuff out and available where you can see it and where you can enjoy it, and go into your stash on any given day. Say, you know what, I want to make something from this, and then you can. So you can see, I mean, even though this isn't a very deep wine rack, it really will hold a lot of fabric, and they're all staying really quite well. And you know what? If you don't have a wine rack or something like this, what else can you use? You could use old cardboard boxes. That would work really well too. You could use bins, like what I use my scrap bins in. You could put those on the floor and put them in there vertically. But, you know, just find a way to store your fabric in such a way that you can see it. If you spend some time just thinking about it, I promise you will come up with a solution. Well, that's where that other one was. I have two fabrics that are the same, and I couldn't find the other one yesterday. That's hilarious. Yay, I found it. See, sometimes when you organize stuff, you know, there you go. And I'm just organizing stuff by, you know, Roy G. Biv. So, moving on to my greens. And then I'll put my teals in there when I get through my greens, because I don't have a lot of green, but I have so much aqua. So much aqua. It is the aqua parade around here. It's really great wool jersey. This guy is pretty thick. I'm going to set him aside. Hi, Mr. Panda. You can see when you have everything ready to go, like how fast it is really to organize your stash. You're just a matter of a couple minutes and boom, you're set. And then everything it just looks so pretty like this. I don't think this fur is going to last too long in my stash. I've already got plans for it. Tuck that back in there. I think one of the nice things about sorting by color is that you can really quickly and easily see where you have the holes in, you know, your color scheme. You can see I have very, very little black and almost no red whatsoever. And I think that's okay. That's my personal, it's just my personal style. But, you know, sometimes there's times when you're trying to expand your color palette and you can see, oh, like I have literally no, you know, purple or whatever color it is that you want to add. So, you know, when you file by color, sometimes you can see that really easily. Another choice for organizing your stash is to organize it by fabric type, and that's just another system that you can use. Ultimately, again, I think the name of the game is make sure that you can see it and make sure that it works for you. You know, if you're a person that works better being able to know exactly how much of everything is in your stash, you know, then follow that. Just find a system that works for you and go with it. Oh, it's the doctors. Yay! Gotta throw some nerd love in there. Hey! These are all these beautiful shirtings for my boys. I love these. They're so pretty. Some nice silk. And the absolute best lining ever from Cali Fabrics. This stuff is awesome. And fleece, which my boys have already started asking me for jackets of. I'm only gonna throw that. It's gonna throw off my selection here to throw in this guy, but He's a beefy one. Ditto with this teal linen. At least they can be neighbors and be friendly. All the way down to my purples. And we're done. So this is my fabric stash, and this is how I store everything. I love this system. I think it works for me. I think it looks really pretty, and I hope you will like it and that you will try it too. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. I want to know too, like, let me know, like, how do you store your fabric? What's the system that works for you? It's yeah, I'm interested to see how people kind of, you know, approach organization of their fabrics in their sewing room. So yeah, hit me up in the comments. Let me know about that. Thank you for watching. Happy sewing. Oh, that was totally my knee. And today, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends.